Code Vein 2 is finally out, and after spending around 18 hours in the game, I want to talk about what it offers, both the good and the rough edges, without hype, score, and spoilers. This is an overview meant to help you decide whether this is a game worth your time based on how its system works and how they feel to play. You begin Code Vein 2 by awakening from death, revived by Lu, who saves your life by sharing half of her heart. This bond immediately establishes a clear role. If you die, she dies. Your headquarters this time is Macmill, a research facility dedicated to Forma studies. This is where you meet the leader, Lavinia, who carries on Idris' legacy and where the central conflict is introduced. A calamity threatens the world, currently held at bay by seals placed by 4 legendaries. Hero. These seals are weakening, and if they break, this happens. Rather than facing this threat directly, Lu's time travel ability allows you to journey into the past to strengthen her powers, obtain seals from earlier timelines, and bring them back to the present. This raises an interesting question early on. If these heroes are meant to protect the world, what happens when they are removed from the equation? Character creation offers a decent amount of flexibility. You can adjust physique, facial features, accessories, and color options to give your character some flair and identity. That said, clothing options feel somewhat limited. While iconic outfits from the first game return, the overall selection feels thinner than expected. Animation is another mixed area. Characters often move as if they are heavily built regardless of body type. Accessories also don't scale properly with different physics. These issues don't break the gameplay, but they do slightly affect immersions to some players. Combat in Code Vein 2 is more layered than its first years. Early on, new weapons such as bows and dual-handed blades are part of this game, expanding combat styles beyond the first game. Damage is split into 2 main factors: direct damage and bleed. Bleed builds up a stun threshold, and once the threshold is reached, enemies are stunned. This opens them up to finishes with your jails, dealing heavy damage and restore Ichor. Ichor functions as a mana system infused Forma abilities, which include combat skills, magic, and support effects. Managing Ichor becomes a core part of combat flow: when to spend it, when to recover it, and how to generate it efficiently. Enemies range from revenants and corrupted creatures to raiders, each with their own attack patterns. Understanding their behavior is very essential, as aggressive play without awareness is heavily punished. Shields play a much more important role this time around. Some shields provide high defensive stats, while others trade defense for utility, such as inflicting status elements on enemies when you shield yourself at the perfect timing. Unlike the first game, where you could often brute force encounters, Code Vein 2 actively encourages shield usage. Bosses are aggressive, relentless, and unforgiving. Their attacks have wide ranges and often come in long, continuous chains. When a boss focuses on you, you need to lock in. Expect to fail often. Success comes from timing blocks, managing stamina, and knowing when to disengage rather than pushing for damage. The world design leans more toward open exploration than the previous game's linear structure. Side quests are more numerous and more rewarding, often providing items, consumables, food, or boosters that significantly ease progression. Pathos shrines are a major system tied to exploration. These shrines hold blessings from important revenants of the past. For example, activating multiple Pathos in Macmill can grant simultaneous bonuses to strength, Ichor capacity, and life points. Pathos can be managed directly from the map, meaning you don't need to physically revisit shrines to activate or deactivate them. Pathos are region-specific, encouraging thoughtful planning before heading out. Or you can choose to deactivate them and just face the challenge by yourself. That's totally up to you. Weapons can be enhanced, infused with elements, or augmented with debuffs. These services are available in Macmill or through Jadwiga's roaming minions, each of whom sells different equipment and materials. Haste management becomes important here, purchasing items when you encounter these merchants saves backtracking later. Membership cards are especially valuable, allowing you to purchase unlimited amount of certain materials. Resources are limited, especially your early on. You need to think carefully about how you spend upgrade materials, which weapons you commit to, and how much you invest before moving to the next area. Boosters are passive enhancements researched and produced by Iris and Lavinia. This increases stats or provides special effects. Make sure to master those blood codes and talk to Lavinia when you have the chance. Some boosters are always active, while others require specific conditions, such as stat threshold or gameplay triggers. The more restrictive the conditions, the stronger the benefit tends to be. This system rewards careful planning rather than immediate power spikes. Gels are armaments used for finishers, and it includes claws, sights, and cloaks. Beyond aesthetics, they provide important stat adjustment, particularly for burden and defense. Using gels effectively is crucial, as landing hits with them absorbs enemy blood and restores Ichor. Companions can also use their gels and share Ichor with you during the battle. Though when and how to rely on that support is entirely up to the players. Bequeathed Forma are special weapons obtained from key characters. This offers devastating damage potential and unique effects that can dramatically shift the combat flow. Their stat requirements are relatively forgiving, meaning they don't affect your characters in terms of overburdening. Their usefulness depends heavily on playstyle, encouraging experimentation rather than forcing on a single best option. Blood codes return with strong variety and clear identity. Each blood code emphasizes different strengths and playstyle. Proficiency increases as you defeat enemies while equipped with a specific blood code. Once proficiency is maxed, you can speak to the blood code's original owner to unlock further progression. However, if your stats don't meet the minimum requirements, you become overburdened, limiting effectiveness. If proficiency stops increasing, it's a sign that you need to move to the higher level areas. The game quietly pushes you forward rather than letting you overfarm early zones. Unless you're farming for haste, that is. The UI can be overwhelming. Managing weapons, gel, blood codes, boosters, burden, and stats all at once takes time to learn. The help system and database are especially useful to know their effects and burden effects, but the initial experience can feel dense to some players. Camera behavior during combat is another issue. Finding near walls or underneath large enemies can result in awkward angles that obscure enemy movements. It is rather frustrating when one has to have proper visual to dodge at the right timing. Bosses are extremely aggressive with long combos and minimal recovery windows. Damage is high, stamina is limited, and leveling provides modest gains relative to haste cost. Success relies more on optimization than raw levels. Visually, the game shows some rough edges, occasional FPS drops, uneven texture, and limited polish appear in certain areas. Motorcycle traversal can feel sluggish on slopes and is prone to getting stuck on environmental debris. Now, who is this game meant for? This game is best suited for players who enjoy deep customization, build crafting, exploration-driven progression, challenging combat that rewards proper preparation, experimentation, and system mastery. It is not designed for players who are looking for a casual or forgiving experience. Patience and adaptability are very, very important. Code 2 has its own flaws, but most of them are manageable once you understand the issues. It rewards players who are willing to step back, rethink their approach, and fine-tune their builds rather than brute force encounters. There is no universal solution to every challenge. The game expects you to adapt, prepare, and learn through failure after failure. Whether Code 2 is worth your time depends on what you value in an action RPG. If you watched my video at this point, I just want to say thank you guys so much for taking your time to listen to my review, and hopefully this will give you a clear idea whether this game is worth your time to play in. I would like to know your thoughts and comments on if you get your hands on this game and play it to see what I can improve my review video itself. As always, if you enjoyed this video, like, comment, and subscribe, and happy gaming.